Hello everyone, welcome to Jolly Molly TV. Today we're going to do another fun block in Kimberbell's Pumpkins and Potions ladder quilt project. In today's video we're going to work on this block right down here that says only a little bit batty. That's cute. So let's go ahead and grab your plastic pouch or bag system that you've labeled a little bit batty, and let's head over to the machine and let's get started stitching. Okay, we are at the machine. I have a bobbin with white thread down below. I have my 8 by 8 inch hoop with a piece of the poly no-show mesh stabilizer in it. I need you to pull your plastic pouch system that you have labeled Little Bit Batty, because we need to pull all of that fabric out. Okay. And we also need a piece of batting, which is 7 by 7 inches. So take that out of our pre-cut stash here. Don't you love it how when all the materials are all ready to go and you just grab it and start stitching? I love that. Okay, put the batting to one side and put the upper fabric to one side. So now I'm going to be looking at my background fabric, which I need to find a thread that will coordinate with this. And we're going to use this thread for the next several stitches. So I'm using fabric from my own stash. So depending on whether you're using the kit or your own fabric, you just need to find a matching thread to go with that fabric and put this thread in the top of your machine. And then we're going to go to the screen cam and we're going to load the design. Okay, so I'm going to click on Embroidery. I'm going to go to my flash drive and I'm going to go to Pumpkins and Potions, and I'm going to go to the quilting designs first because we're doing quilt as we go, block by block. So I'm looking for Halloween number 8, and I'm looking for a 6 by 6 inch design, and it's going to load here. There we go. This is the one I'm looking for. That's it with the cauldrons, and I'm going to click set. And now I'm going to add the main embroidery design on top of this. Now if your machine can't add, don't worry. You're going to stitch this out, clear the memory on your machine, and come back in and add and stitch out the main embroidery design. Alright, so I'm going to click on add, go back to my flash drive, and go back to Pumpkins and Potions. And I'm looking for the Little Bit Batty, which I believe is this one right here. And it is. Okay. Click on that one. That's the one we want. Click set. We don't need to do anything because it's brought it in perfectly centered. All we need to do is click Embroidery. Okay. That looks good. So now let's go back to the hoop cam. And I'm going to put the orange thread that matches my background fabric into the top of the machine. And we're going to thread this needle and get ready to stitch. Okay, no loop, that's good. So now let's stitch out the placement line for the batting. Let's go. Okay, now I'm going to put my batting down, making sure that I cover all of that placement line on all sides. And I do. So lay it down. I'm going to use my stylus to help hold it down. And let's put the foot down and let's tack down this batting. This looks good. So now I want you to take the hoop off the machine, take this to a table, and I want you to trim away all of the excess batting from around the outside edges. And I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so that's trimmed up nicely. So let's put the foot down, leave the same color thread still in the top of your machine, and let's stitch out the placement line for the fabric. Okay, I'm going to put down the fabric, and because I have directional fabric, I want to make sure that my top is up here and my bottom is down here, because this is how the block is going to stitch out with the text saying only a little bit batty right here. So top and bottom. Go ahead and feel for the sides of the batting, and that'll give you a good idea if that's where you need to be. All right, so go ahead and just put the foot down, and let's tack down this fabric. Very nice. See how easy, if you just line the fabric up with the edge where you feel for the batting, you can basically pretty well center your block without having to measure or do anything. And like I said, we have oodles of fabric on each side for when we trim it up. When we trim this block up, it's going to be using these outer stitch lines. So like again, you've got plenty of wiggle room, so you don't have to be 100% perfect. All right, cool. I just want to say a huge thank you to Kimberbell for sponsoring me in this project and for providing the Pumpkins and Potions quilting bundle for me to use in this project. This quilting bundle is amazing. It is definitely something that you can look at in order to enhance this project. It comes with all of these amazing designs. You get a cauldron, you get a spider web, some happy ghosts that look like they have little glasses on. This border is amazing. I cannot wait to show you the borders. And you get this cool pumpkin and ghost and 31 on there. It's just a bunch of fun. So if you're able to get this quilting bundle, it's going to just make your project pop. The borders, I cannot wait. Look at these borders. There's 2 of them, and I'm going to try to incorporate both of them in this project. You get enough files in each of the designs to be able to do any combination of size that you could possibly think of for this project and our other projects. And you also get the block towel sizes for the clear blue towels quilting method as well in each of the designs. So I highly recommend, if you can do this, this is amazing. Please use the link in the description below to purchase the bundle from Kimberbell.com. So I'm going to quilt this block in the same orange thread that I have up in the top of my machine, because I want it to blend into the background. I want the only a little bit batty to be what is the focal point on the block, and then I do have slightly busy background, so I don't want the quilting to compete with that. So same color thread for me up above. Choose the color thread you like to do your quilting in, and let's quilt this. This is a 3-minute in real life stitch out. Enjoy. Very nice. Okay, so now I'm going to switch my thread to a white thread, because my next fabric that I'm going to be using is my favorite white glitter fabric. So I want this thread to match that. You pick out which color thread matches your circle fabric we're going to be doing here in a minute, and put that color thread in the top of your machine, and we're going to stitch out the placement line for the circle fabric. All right. So I've got white bobbin still below and white on top. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to place my fabric for the circle down, and I'm going to just push it all the way up. This way I can see the sides are going to be covered. And I can go all the way to the top. I can see I've got plenty of room there, plenty of room on each side. Move it over just a smidgen. Okay, and we are good to go. So white thread still on the top of my machine. Let's put the foot down and let's tack down this fabric. You got this. Nice. Okay, so now I'm going to take the hoop gently off the machine. I want you to take the hoop over to a table, and I want you to trim away the excess fabric from all the way around the outside edge of that stitch line we just did. And I'm going to use my curved scissors by Havel. You can see the link in the description below if you're interested in these, because when I trim, it's positioned upward, see? So it will help me prevent stabbing the fabric or the stabilizer down below. These are really wonderful when it comes to doing applique on machine embroidery. So go ahead and trim that up, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so we have our circle all trimmed up. Now I want you to move that hoop off to the side for a second, and we are going to swap out our bobbin from white to black thread. The reason we want to do that is because if there's any tension issues on your machine, which doesn't appear to be, but you never know, instead of pulling up white thread in the next few stitches, it'll pull up black. And with black thread also in the top of your machine, you will never ever see it. It'll make a beautiful stitch out. Okay, so that means up on the top of my machine, I need to swap out the white thread and also put black thread up on the top, because we're going to be stitching the placement line for the little bat. Okay, so we've got black thread up on top. Let's put the foot down and let's stitch out the placement line for the bat. Okay, now you get to go to your embellishment kit, and you need to pull out the black glitter. I'm going to take this off so it's a little easier for you to see. This black piece of glitter that's in that kit. Now remember, before when we used it for the witch's hat on the previous block, we had to pull away this plastic film to be able to expose the glitter underneath so we could stitch this out. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to sit here and go, you know what? I'm going to see if I can position this right like that to maximize what I'm getting out of this glitter. And if I hold my finger here and I look, it's going to perfectly hit this space, go up just a smidgen, and I don't have to worry about this piece of plastic because it's going to come up to there. So I can get this bat out of this little piece right here. So I have black thread up above, put the hoop back on the machine, and I'm going to realign this to make sure I've got everything covered, and I'm going to hold it with my stylus. If you want to put embroidery tape down, you can, but I'm just going to hold it with my stylus and let it tack this down. Just keep your fingers away from the moving needle, okay? Here we go. I love that. Fit perfectly. Okay, so now you're going to take the hoop back off the machine gently. What I want you to do is take this over to a table, and I want you to trim away all of the excess glitter from around the outside of the bat. The outside, okay? Trim as close and as neat as you can. Don't nick the stitches. This is a raw edge applique, and there's no additional stitches on the bat at all. So you don't want to nick those stitches. So just trim close and neat, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, we have our bat trimmed up. He looks good. So now we're going to leave black thread in the bobbin down below and black thread up on top, because now we're going to stitch out the text "Only a Little Bit Batty." This is a 10-minute in real life stitch out. So sit back and enjoy. Here we go. Very nice. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now I'm going to take the black thread out of the top of my machine. Bear with me here. And now I have a choice to make. I need to know what color thread am I going to put in the top of my machine for this next step. While I'm thinking, I'm going to go ahead and take the hoop off and swap out this black bobbin and put one with white thread. I think that might be enough to get through the next 2 stitches. We'll find out. And then bring my hoop back. And now I got to figure out. I like the white edge that Kimberbell used, so I think I'll stick with that. Then they used a light gray for the last stitch. They have light gray fabric in their fabric kit. I don't. Mine is more like a Haunted Mansion theme, which has the orange, the purples, and the teal greens, and the black and the white. So I think I'm going to do the white satin stitch first around the outside edge, and then the last stitch, instead of doing the gray, I'm going to use purple, and then that will tie it into my fabric that I'm using for my stash. So you get to figure out the same. If you're using the kit fabric, you could do white now and then a gray, or you can change it up and do whatever color you want. Especially if you're using your own stash, make it your own. This is your project. This is something that you are making, and you can put in whatever color you want at this point for this stitch, which is going to be the outside satin stitch for this block. All right, so let's stitch that out. It's a 6-minute in real life stitch out. Oops, I have a loop. There we go. Enjoy. That turned out really nice. We have 1 stitch out left, and I've chosen to do my inner border in this purple. So put the color thread that you've chosen to do the inner border of this block. Put that thread on the top of your machine, and let's stitch this out. This is a 4-minute in real life stitch out. And then you've got this block. All the stitching will be done. All right, you excited? Okay, let's do this. Here we go. That turned out amazing. Love that choice of purple on there. That's so cool. All right, did you get that? And look, we got glitter here, and then we got glitter here, and I'm only a little bit batty for doing all that glitter. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so let's take the hoop off the machine. Let's head over to the table, and let me show you how to finish up this block. All right, isn't this a cool block? I love just by changing up the color and making it your own. It's like, I did that. I love that. Okay, so now we just have to square up this block, or trim the edges as it's called. I usually call squaring it up. The block needs to measure 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. So I'm going to look for this outer stitch line here, which was the tack down that we did for the fabric. And I'm going to measure from this line to this line is 6.5. And from the top line to the bottom line is just a hair under 6.5. So that is the line we're going to use to help us square up this block. Okay, so I'm going to turn it to the side, only because my ruler is approximately the size of this part of the stabilizer. And I'm going to line up the ruler on that stitch line. The stitch line looks fairly straight, so I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to go just a hair past that stitch line. And I'm going to say, can I see that stitch line? I sure can. So that means I can cut. Okay, so I come over here, line up the block with the mat. 17 would be 11.5. And I'm going to line up the ruler with my mat, making sure I'm lined up on this side. And can I see that stitch line? Yes, I can. So I'm good to cut. So those two sides are done. Now I'm going to come over here and do the same thing, but now I'm also going to use my ruler, this baseline here, because I know that fabric is straight and this stitch line is straight. We're good to go. I'm right on it, or just actually a smidgen past. We are good. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that. And I'm going to come over here and line this up with my mat and do the same thing. 16 and 10.5 is where I need to be. Use the line on my ruler as well. Make sure I'm still lined up over here. 10.5 is where I am on my mat. Can I see the stitch line? Yes, it's a little bit further underneath the ruler, but that's still okay because my block is going to be squared up on this side. Actually, move it over just a smidgen. And it's going to be lined up perfectly on this side. So we are good to cut. There you go. And like I said in the previous videos, if you have a little bit of fabric outside that stitch line, that's fine, because all that will disappear when we sew it together in your seam allowance, okay? So you have a squared up, only a little bit batty block. Isn't that fun? All right, you did it. Okay, hope you had as much fun today making this block as I did. And I hope you stay tuned here on my channel, Jelly Molly TV, for more fun and more blocks in Kimberbell's cute project, Pumpkins and Potions. And until I see you next time, take care and happy stitching. Bye-bye.